stylus where you can use this on.
Yeah.
I think you could use this on your phone. Does this work?
It was just sitting there.
This is so interesting to me. Jared, have you used one of these? Are you an iPad guy?
I'm an Apple Pencil guy, but previously stylus guy.
This is very.
But now I have an Apple Pencil.
Apple Pencil.
Maybe the podcast should just be me playing with this thing for like 30 minutes. Pastor just stares at me and wonders why in the world we're not talking about anything.
Oh gosh. Well, what's the difference with this than with your finger? I guess you just
I don't know. I don't know. People are people want the.
more dialed in.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's like there's like this degree of abstraction that I don't know if I like it. Pastor's now managing his email because I.
Well, it's just something else you got to carry around.
Exactly.
You know?
Well, that's why they made the phone in the first place. You can use it with your finger. I remember watching that Steve Jobs keynote in 2006. I'm in college.
Yeah.
And he gets up there and says, "No, you don't use a stylus. You just use your finger." And I said, "That's impossible." I remember thinking that you can't make it because touchscreens up until that point were just like you had to push so hard. It didn't work. It was inaccurate. And suddenly they make this one, and it's like, well, this just changed everything.
The best
Looked like it was magic.
The iPod Shuffle. Because he talked about what's that little pocket inside your jeans.
That was
Pull out the iPod Shuffle.
that was the iPod Nano. That was the iPod Nano. I remember that one
that's
too.
a watch pocket right there.
Yeah. Is that really what it was originally for? The watch
Yeah.
pocket?
Yeah.
I need to start wearing jeans again. I don't even have that. I just wear my slacks.
You look so nice. Well, what's going on in the world today?
What is going on in the world? Well, I
Did
purposely
you ever find out what these drones are?
I purposely did not look at the news this morning.
Did you not?
But because I was just like I don't know. I felt kind of overwhelmed. I was like, I just need to. So you tell me what's going on. The drones are those the ones in New Jersey?
Yeah,
Everybody keeps talking
they're
about that.
all over the place now. You know.
Well, it's probably. I'm sure.
Cowboys won yesterday.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even watch them. And
Yeah.
naturally, when I don't watch them, they win.
Well, they beat the Panthers, which was not exactly heavy lifting.
Well,
But congratulations,
win's a
I
win,
guess.
you know.
Are their playoff hopes still alive?
no,
Okay.
they're out.
They're
done.
okay.
They're fried.
The Broncos are still rolling.
We're going to the playoffs, though.
Broncos are going to the playoffs. Baltimore, if they can beat the Steelers, they might actually be able to win the division because they took care of business against the Giants yesterday, which that wasn't a surprise. The Giants are desperate for a draft pick. They're trying to lose games.
They are? Is that what
The
they're
Giants, oh yeah, they waived their best quarterback and all that. You know, they're not that Daniel Jones is like the best.
Well, you know,
quarterback.
they had all of those that left out of Dallas and Jerry Jones, which is the problem in Dallas.
Yeah, there's no question about that. The overactive owner.
Didn't replace much, you know, he didn't do anything to replace it. And
So are people scared of the drones? Is that the thing? They're scared.
yeah, they wonder, you know, what are they doing? Why are they up here? You know, what is
I'm
it?
sure it's gotta
Is
be
it a
some
foreign
kind-
government?
No, I'm sure
Is it
it's
our government?
It's sure it's our government doing something, you know, and then
Freaky.
yeah, well, you know, they're testing things, you know, and there's the outgoing administration. They're trying to get as much stuff done that they don't think Trump will do when he comes in or whatever.
Like scare the wits out of people.
Yeah,
with
just
drones.
scare them. Try to start World War III with Russia.
Yeah.
You know, the whole thing. Just like let's check all those things off the list before we get into January.
Yes, get country into a major world war, deplete all of our oil. You know, let's just check. You know, that's crazy. Oh
Yeah.
gosh.
That's why I get most of my news from the Babylon Bee.
Let's make sure that the Dallas Cowboys come in last place.
Eliminated from the playoffs,
Yeah.
but let ESPN know to still lead with them every single day. So we're talking about a losing team and not
gosh.
talking about Jared's team.
Multi-millionaires sitting around.
You're talking about us?
No,
Oh.
Cowboys.
Got it.
Twiddling their thumbs during playoff season.
Yeah, poor guys. Poor Cowboys. That's the irony is that the playoffs will hit and the talking heads will still be talking about the Cowboys even though they're not even there.
Yeah.
What are they going to do next year? Well, can we talk about the playoffs right now? I've been following the Chiefs a little bit because it's fascinating how they've just barely won all of these games.
Unbelievable.
It's so interesting. Of course, yesterday I saw the score and they were up like 21-0 on the Browns or something like that, and that was just the first half. And then I checked the score after the game, and the final score was just 21-7. They were like, "Well, we're done scoring. The Browns are bad. We're not going to score any more points." I just thought that was interesting. I feel like the Chiefs are just like toying with everybody.
There's a stat that's like one possession. You take away one possession from all their games.
Yeah.
Whether it was like a block.
And they're like
goal,
3-9.
They'd be 2-10.
Yeah.
2-10 on
Yeah.
one
So
possession.
is that luck or is it good coaching? I'd probably go with the latter since
It's
they've won
magic. It's dark magic.
since they've won
Magic
2
Mahomes.
Super Bowls in a row.
Mahomes is pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
He's a witch.
He's
He is pretty
Jared says he's a witch. Jared's just jealous because they're the Broncos
He
division.
technically would be a warlock, but I get your drift. I
Yeah,
know what you're saying.
see what you're
Yeah.
doing there.
I don't know, man. He's one of those guys that everything, he throws at just lands right.
Well, okay, let's start talking more about the Christmas season here. I mean, obviously, football is about to wind into the playoffs. It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's Christmas time. The kids came home yesterday. Well, we all came home yesterday. I usually don't send them home by themselves. We all came home. We were eating lunch together, and the kids are like, "Man, I just loved Pastor's message today."
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, and I know what's coming. I'm like, "So what was your favorite part?" And they're like, "The part about the milk. That was so great. That was like your closing. That was like, so that, did you say that was like a story that?"
Yeah, I had
apart from-
heard this from a guy, and I thought, well, Lord, that's exactly my story.
That bit about like when you ask for people to get something for the back and they go back and take a break.
Yeah, they take a break. They're back there for you, and you don't know where to
Get a
go
cup
get
of
them.
coffee.
You're afraid if you go back there,
Yeah.
you just disappear.
Employees only. You can't go through the little.
It's like you
cowboy
walk
doors.
into the back of the wardrobe and you end up in Narnia.
That would be kind of exciting. And then so Narnia is just the land of Eagle
Winter. Eagle brand.
Eagle
milk.
brand sweetened condensed milk. So I looked this up online because I didn't grow up with the sweetened condensed milk. I didn't know anything about this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't. I don't. Well, I don't. I also don't cook or bake. So sorry if that offends people, but so I didn't know anything about that. This is like a big ingredient.
Oh, my. It's the ingredient.
And so you didn't say it in the first service, but you said in the second service that after your dad gave you the first hit of the Eagle milk, that you would go back and just take a swig.
I would go in there every now and then when nobody was in the kitchen, and I'd get that little can and I'd take a quick sip of it.
Just take a shot.
Oh, gosh, that stuff was so good.
Throw back a shot.
It was like drinking sweet velvet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just milk with sugar mixed in, right? Is there more
I
to it
guess.
than
I
that?
don't know. I've never gone in to look to see what's
What
in
does
it.
the condensed mean? I wish
I just
Joanna
want to
was
see
here.
the cow that comes from.
Yeah, well, you can see her. She's on the logo there on the.
Elsie is
on the
Elsie.
can. Elsie the guy. Look this, Dylan. Get those numbers on our desk. I want to know what actually is the process for the condensed milk. Like I know that you can get like coffee concentrate and there's juice concentrate, that sort of thing. Are they doing that with the milk? Are they somehow milkifying it to a different level of milkdom?
I don't know.
So it's cow's milk with sugar added, reduced by evaporation to a thick consistency.
Oh man.
So they're taking a lot
Just
of the
the
water
sound
out.
of it just.
They're taking a lot of the water out of it, I guess. Yeah. So it is thicker.
It is
Interesting.
thick. Yeah. Because you'll turn that thing sometimes and it's slow coming out.
So next week, you and me are
It's
just going to start the pod by just throwing back a couple of cans of the
Well,
Eagle
listen,
brand.
We would be so on the walls around here.
I loved how you're just like, it took me to the third heaven. You're like, I saw Paul. He was still up there. I don't know. I don't even know if people got that, but that made me laugh so hard. up there in the third heaven. But the point is that you got to have, if you're, even with food, you're like, I got to have the genuine article.
It's no substitute.
Yeah, so the point is there's no substitute.
I have
for
gone
who Christ
home
is.
with a substitute before
Yes.
and had my funeral preached.
the great
Don't come by my wife and by
Yes.
my mother.
Uh-huh.
It's
Yeah.
a double shot of it.
Well,
I'm
there's
waiting
some-
now for the granddaughters to do it.
Sometimes those things. So Courtney has never done that to you. She's never.
No. She hadn't.
She's not. She's actually nice to you.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out which one of my daughters is going to be nice to me. Which one's the one that's
They
going to
all
be nice?
will be.
You think they
Yeah,
will be?
They will be. They all will be.
That's good. Well, I've got 4 to choose from.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, you're fortunate.
yes, I'm very, very, very blessed.
A man with daughters has got somebody that'll take care of him for the rest of his life.
That's really what I need. I need to be taken
Taken
care
care
of.
of. You do.
My son is the only one
I'm
that's.
getting tired of doing it, but
It's okay. My kids will pick up the slack here in a little bit. So my son is the only one that's the morning person. We
that's
talked
good.
about this. The older I get, I'm even more of a morning person. I keep waking up earlier and earlier. I don't know why. I kind of like it though.
pretty soon you won't even just bother to go to sleep. You just won't even bother with it.
Is that what you do?
Just stay up.
You just stay up
Yeah,
all these
just
years.
stay up.
Just-
I've been up for the last 5 years.
Just hit like. You get tired, you just hit some Eagle brand just to kind of give you a little pick me up at 2 a.m. So Jude comes down and so we just kind of sit, and it's kind of, the girls are sleeping in, they don't sleep in super long, but it's like 20 minutes, and so we make our eggs together and we just kind of sit at the table. It's just really sweet, I'm like, okay, do you remember your Awana verses from last week? Did you
Yeah.
just get them signed off, or do you actually remember? We talked about a few of those, and it's just a sweet time.
It is. That's nice. That's neat. That's a good time.
Yeah, I'm proud of him. He even rolled out the trash this morning.
Did he
I don't know
really?
how he. Yeah, I don't know how he did it, because it's not. I mean, this is this huge thing. We have so much garbage every week. I mean,
Yeah.
as you can imagine, with how many kids. And he rolled it out. He's like, "Took care of that for you, Dad." I'm like, "Thank you, son." I'm like praying to the Lord, let it always be this way.
Yeah. Well, it won't. Just wait till he hits about 13. It'll change.
Well, it won't. Oh my gosh. It won't. Thanks for the encouragement.
I'm here for the
This
encouragement.
is what- yeah,
I'm here just to encourage.
It's your
you.
professionalism I admire the most, Pastor. Thank you for that.
That's right. That's right. Oh gosh.
So it's the Christmas season, and I've been seeing this too. You led with this yesterday. The magazines, they're
Yeah.
all trying to make a buck, or $32.
Can you believe how much they cost?
I couldn't
They
believe-
were $15. Debbie said, she said, "You're going to pay that much for those things?" And I said, "Yeah. I want to use them." So you keep those. You don't ever throw that away.
Yeah, they're all collector's editions.
Yeah, well, they're special editions.
Special
for
edition.
Sure.
So I've got so many questions about. You might not know the answers to these, but like our Time and Life, are they still doing monthly publications? Get those numbers on our desk.
Time does a weekly.
Really?
Yeah,
They
but it's
still
all
do-
online.
Oh, okay.
All this stuff, all that stuff is online. Online, you got the special editions.
Life went out of business though. Or
Somebody named
Well,
Life
yeah.
published it.
I think somebody
I
has
think
the-
they do. I think they do a lot of stuff online, and every now and then they come out with a special edition in print.
So did you? I mean, the covers were really interesting, but did you flip through them? Like, was the information trustworthy? Like, what were they saying?
It's not real helpful.
because
Yeah,
they're-
it's basic, rudimentary. Not anything really helpful.
well, it's my guess was that a lot of it was like sociological, archaeological kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because the Bible's not a trustworthy document. All
Yeah,
this.
but they keep running, special editions of it.
Can we trust the Bible? That's the
Was he really? Well, Christianity says da 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 da. Boy, the little excerpt that I read from
Ooh, Barna.
Barna
Oh, that was so
yesterday,
good. That was
I
right
thought
on point.
was so incredibly on point. Because we have the last 50, since 1950s, this country has just really gone into decline. It was very slow. It sped up.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff was introduced in the 60s. And, you hit the 70s and the 80s, it kind of slowed up, and then you started down this. In the last number of years, it's really gone down.
Well, I've been thinking about this. I was even listening to an old Tim Keller message on like the loss of identity.
Yeah.
Like how we lose, and he was quoting from another guy. I can't remember his name. This Canadian theologian, which I'm trying not to hold that
Not
against him.
Packer, was it?
No, I'll think.
Templeton?
No, it's more recent than that. I'll think of him in a second, but was it Charles Taylor? Might have been. Either way, he's talking about how, like, the rise of the modern self. Maybe it was the triumph of the modern self. I think that's Carl Trueman, but so now I'm really getting things mixed up. But just how, like, when you had a society in which Judeo-Christian values were just assumed,
Right.
there were so many ways in which things were healthier.
Oh, my stars.
Relationships, and that's to say nothing about. And obviously, there's been immense problems in every country that's ever existed. But like the way that this culture, I won't even say our country, but the way this culture is like just speeding into disarray, of course, comes back to the fact that we don't have like a baseline identity.
Well, they don't know where. When everything is relative, you have no body of truth because there is no truth. All truth is your
Yes.
truth is your truth. It's truth for you. When you come to a place where that's where you have taught everybody into the society to go, you just have pure anarchy.
Yeah, it's
and all you
disarray.
have to do is just go to San Francisco, where people walk into a drugstore with big black trash bags and they're raking stuff off into it like that and just walking out the store.
Yeah.
Because, I love all these people who say, well, we've always had people that say, we've not had a time where people walk in with massive, 40-pound trash bags raking stuff off the shelf, and they're doing it by the hundreds.
It is really sad.
And then everybody in that community, why has Walgreens closed? And we don't have a Walgreens, we don't have a supermarket. Well, I wonder why.
Well, so that's the sort of the sensational result of all this. But like the understanding that gets traced back to the fact that there's no accountability, or there's no recognition that our identity is given to us by a higher power.
Right.
So along the way, if we don't have that recognition that there's a higher power that imposes an identity in Christ upon us, and that's what we're supposed to follow, yes, it becomes disarray, because in this relativism, eventually there is no rule of law. I'm thankful that that's kind of, for the moment, that's kind of isolated in a couple of areas. Yeah. But it would, that's the kind of thing, it would go there eventually. Like without Christ, it would, it does lead to that kind of decay.
Without a foundation of established truth.
Established truth, that's what it comes down to.
You have anarchy.
Well, because that's a good point, because if you don't have an absolute truth, then you also can't have any absolute moral standards.
Yeah, you can't. There are none. And that is exactly where we're trying to push everything today, is there are no moral standards.
Right.
It's only whatever you want to do.
Which is a scary thing, because like in the flesh, the things that we want to do are horrible.
The things I want to do in the flesh are horrible.
It's a struggle. It should be the struggle of every believer. Not to follow your flesh,
I think people think when I preach to them, I'm just, fussing at them. I'm struggling with my own humanity as well.
Talk about that some more, because I think that's important for people to realize.
Well, I don't think people realize that about preachers, but it is true. Preachers are human.
Yes.
Preachers have struggles. Preachers sin. There is no sinless state this side of heaven. Mm-hmm. And when I deal with a passage, whatever I'm preaching out of that passage is the struggles that I see, And now, for example, if I deal with something and I talk about gambling, I have no issue with gambling. That doesn't, or drinking, or stuff
Sure.
like that. But I know other people struggle with it, and I know they struggle with it because they're issues that I do struggle with.
Of course, yeah.
So it's not that I'm just, laying this all on you. The fact is, this is coming out of my own personal experience of struggling with my flesh.
I hope that's something that our congregation can understand more and more. Just because, obviously you're the pastor of the church. The Lord has tasked you with leading us. But there's also a sense in which we are all in this together.
Yes.
Like we're
Yeah.
all, like we are.
We all need a Savior.
100%.
And we all
sinned.
need forgiveness all the time.
Oh, may the Lord then help us with greater unity because of that. And I think I am so grateful for the unity that we have in this church and
We
among
do.
the staff.
We have an amazing amount of unity.
It really
And a
is
great
good.
sense of community as well.
Yeah, and then we're going to see even more of that this week. We've got the Christmas party is Wednesday night, which
That's
is
probably the rowdiest
it gets rowdy.
service of the year.
It really is off the rails.
Yep.
You know, you talked about the trash bag. People come in with trash bags, just pulling all the cookies into the trash, and then they just take it home.
Oh gosh, and she's doing something different this year.
Oh,
It's-
yeah.
It's not edible this year. The gingerbread houses, is that right?
Well, there are plenty of things to eat, but you're right. They're not making a nativity out of the gingerbread
Yeah.
cookies or the what? It's not gingerbread. What do they used to?
Well,
the crackers. The
You
brown-
have to do it out of all different stuff. She puts a bunch of
Yeah.
stuff in the middle, and you've got to make a nativity out of this.
So they got a lot of different games this year that they're going to play. Some trivia games, some kind of like minute to win it kind of games, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I've got one thing I'm gonna try to do. I haven't decided on what it's gonna be, but I think the thing that's gonna be the most fun, well, it might be the most fun for me, is that the student ministry is doing a little Christmas play,
Oh, good.
and David Dollar's directing it, and it's gonna be really fun. So. Yeah, you guys, come all, the Christmas party.
No, it is the liveliest time of the year, I can tell you.
It'll be 70 degrees outside, which is weird. We need to talk about that. It'll be super warm outside, but
It'll snow.
it's gonna snow. It will be snowing. Actually, yeah. So that's
We could do a cross auditorium skiing in there.
now that's what
Not cross country, but cross auditorium.
cross the platform, cross platforms. Yeah, I need to get some skis. Jared, Dylan, get me some skis for Wednesday. Get those skis on my desk immediately.
Not the cheap ones. No, we want the really fine.
We got $870,000 in the bank. We got only $400,000 after Pastor gets that Bentley he keeps talking about. That it's still a lot of money.
So we're in really good shape. Did you imagine having that work? When I was in when I was at High Point, Carolina, which used to be the furniture capital of the world. When I was there,
Yeah.
they had a Rolls Royce and a Bentley dealership there.
Wow. This is for all the big wigs that own the furniture companies.
Yes, I guess that's it.
Because your dad was doing furniture retail.
Yeah, but he never had a Rolls Royce or
No, I'm not saying he did.
we were fortunate to have a, Chevrolet pickup.
But that's interesting. I never fit that in. That, like, of course, your dad had worked in the furniture industry. Like it's the furniture capital of the world. I remember when my parents bought a couch and a love seat, and that's where they ordered it from there. Yeah, though we were living in Georgia at the time. Yeah, man, I can't imagine. I mean, do they just let anybody go in and test drive it?
I don't know.
You and me.
I never even walked in the place.
Where do we have to go? We got to go to Mountain Brook. Let's go to Mountain Brook.
Do they have one there?
I assume they do. But everybody, well, I'll ask Dallas Davenport. He lives on the outskirts of Mountain Brook. So we'll go, you and me, we'll bring Jared. He can video the whole thing. You and test drive one of these Rolls Royces, just see how it goes.
Yeah, I bet they would not allow us to test drive.
For Sunday morning, they pull up to church.
Yes, yeah, but they do
At the front.
You see, I want to just keep this thing over the weekend. I want to pull up at the church in my Silver Cloud Rolls Royce.
Oh my gosh. Those things are something. I watched the video.
Well, I think we gave the preacher a little bit too much of a raise this year.
Oh boy.
I'll keep my Jeep.
I just can't imagine having so much money that you're like, yeah, this is worth it. That's just the deal. We were talking about that. I'm not even saying that's bad. I'm just like, I can't imagine it.
We were talking about the price because somebody asked us last night. We had some friends in from Dallas, and they asked Debbie, they said, do you pay for people to come and put your lights up on your house? Well, I started laughing. Because, last week we were in Dallas for a few days, and we drove around Highland Park, which is where Jerry Jones lives.
Yeah.
We drove around Highland Park. And I am telling you, this is no lie. I am certain that some of these houses there paid anywhere between $30,000 and $50,000
For the life.
for the spectacular.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, it was gorgeous, beautiful. And somebody, you know, they were laughing about it. I said, that's a car for, that's, somebody said, well, that's nothing to them. I said, but that's a car for me,
Right.
you know.
Right.
So
That's it. It is wild.
it is unbelievable what people will put into things.
I don't know where we go from there. I'm just imagining the light show. I need to spend more time in Texas. Everybody keeps talking about it. It feels like
It's a great country. Texas is a great place. Well, it does. It has that mindset that they're their own. Well, at one time, they were their own country.
yeah. Yeah.
That's why the Texas flag can fly as at the same height as the American flag.
That's true. I remember reading about that. Well, and a couple of years ago when, the political, people were fashion heads more than ever. Everyone was writing think pieces online about, like, can Texas secede from the Union? Could they actually become their own country? Yep. And I think the ultimate answer was no.
No, well, there was a war fought for that, Everybody forgets all the other issues of the Civil War, but one of the issues, and Lincoln made it pretty clear, you cannot, a state cannot secede from the, although, the New York governor or New York mayor, no, not New York mayor, the governor, I think up there was talking about how New York should secede from the nation and become a part of Canada and California. Now, I would be for that. I would say let's help them do that as rapidly as possible.
Oh boy. Yeah, that's true. History is almost always more complex than we remember.
It is.
Obviously the slavery issues what, led to that powder keg. Sure. But the right to secede was another one of those.
That was an issue.
Yeah.
So was states' rights, which has become a major issue in our day. We never settled that except for the South was defeated in that issue.
Right.
That states do not have certain rights, like the right to secede, like the right to own people,
Right.
Those kind of things. But there's still issues of states' rights today.
Well, we're seeing that. I mean, and people have talked about all the similarities between the abortion issue and the slavery issue.
Yeah.
Again, just like people like his property kind of thing, but especially with the way that it's become like an issue given back to the states.
I predict that there will be a day that will come in America, if it lasts this long, where the abortion issue will be viewed as negatively as the slavery issue.
May it be, O Lord. I pray.
That abortion will be basically seen as what it is, the taking of
The abomination.
a life, of a life.
I pray that it will be. I pray that it will be.
Well, we've done all of that. You just didn't want to deal with this text, did you?
It's a difficult text.
It-
I like.
We're shot now. Our time is gone.
Is it really gone?
Yeah.
Oh well, it really did. We took it to the limit. Well, I think it's worth mentioning because we don't understand. To speak now, Micah chapter 5. Our modern sensibility as New Covenant Christians does not allow us to see how insignificant Bethlehem was.
Yeah.
So this prophecy was just wild to people. They're like, Bethlehem in Nazareth. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. I'm trying to think, what would you compare it to around here other than, where is it that Charles lives? Down at Sylacauga.
Yeah.
Springle.
Yeah, or Springville where Jared lives.
But you somewhere like that nobody's ever really heard of.
I guess it wasn't as quite as backwoods as Nazareth, but Bethlehem
Well, Nazareth had its own. It was,
kind of stigma.
yes. The Romans were in and out of there so much, and right around out of Nazareth, the Romans would raise hogs, which you can just imagine what an anathema that was to a Jew.
That's a good point.
So it was kind of seen as a dirty place,
And that
army,
but that's where his parents were from. That's where he grew up.
yeah, that's right.
Bethlehem kind of, because you talked about how like it was a small town and their only claim to fame was that David was born there. And it just made me think of how many small towns there are in America where you go and there's only one stoplight, but here's the Mickey Mantle Museum, you know, or here's the whoever museum.
Well,
is it?
Sylacauga, Jim Neighbors,
Oh, there you go.
Gomer, you know, Gomer Powell.
That's a good point. I kept thinking of Fort Payne because we drive through there every year, and it's not super small, but there's billboards for the band Alabama everywhere because that's where they're from. You know, they got the museum, they got the park, they got, you know, it's all about that. That's their only claim to fame. And sorry if you're from Fort Payne. I'm sure that there's lovely things there besides Alabama,
But we're just thinking out of way places that are not generally known for anything significant.
yeah.
I suppose Sylacauga would have been a metropolis in comparison to Bethlehem.
I've never been to Sylacauga. You ever been to Sylacauga? You've been everywhere. What's the Sylacauga?
Yes, I tell you, the claim to fame down there outside of Jim Neighbors is Bluebell has got a
Big old factory.
which they want to keep that secret. They don't want the rest of the world to know
That it's
they've
right.
got a Bluebell right there in Sylacauga.
Is it listeria free now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
That's good. Is there anything else that we gotta talk about? There's so many things that we could say.
Just so much in this.
There's so much. You guys just need to watch the message back yesterday. Where are you going next week?
I'm going to probably Matthew chapter 1, and I'm going to deal with the incarnation of Christ. And you say, well, why are you going to Matthew 1? Well, you'll just have to wait and see.
Are you gonna do the genealogy?
Some, but I can't get buried down in it like I did last week.
Okay.
By the way, I've already done my Christmas Eve devotional
Oh, okay.
for the church. I will tell you this, when it opens up, you see right here, the record of the genealogy.
Yes.
That word genealogy is genesis, which is the Greek word Genesis. That is beginning.
Beginning. The beginning of Jesus.
Yes.
Bereshit, yeah, that's the
Well, Purcell Farms is near Sylacauga.
Purcell. I don't even. What is Purcell?
Oh, best golf course in the state.
Oh, right.
That's right.
That's all good. I tell you what,
I've heard.
we got the plan now. We're gonna hit up the Rolls-Royce dealership. We're drawing our golf clubs in the back. We're driving to Purcell Farms.
And then we'll stop by and get some.
We're gonna get some Bluebell ice cream. Be careful in the seats of the road.
And go into the Jim Neighbors Museum.
Yeah.
Into the museum down there. So they got a whole room out there. Just the Jim Neighbors.
What are y'all doing here?
Kill some cocaine.
Well-
Bad drug problem in Sylacauga. Seriously.
On that note, prayers for Sylacauga with the drug problems. We love you guys. Say, this has been fun. Great spending time. We will be back on Monday. Yeah, we'll be back. I'll be here too. And,
Really?
we'll be
Oh, yeah, because we got
Christmas.
we got the Christmas Eve service and the service. I'm going to be at the Christmas Eve service and Christmas Eve
For
service.
Christmas, both of the Eves, Adam and
The eve of the eve.
Christmas, Adam, Christmas Eve. Okay, it's been fun. Say goodbye, Pastor.
Goodbye, Pastor.